Hey there, everybody. Tamer Shama of RotoExperts.com back once again, this time with starts and sits at the quarterback position for Week 16. Before we get into my starts and sits at quarterback, let's go back to Week 15 and check out how I did in the quarterback category for Week 15. And it was a mixed bag for me at quarterback, just like it was at running back. A little more murky, though, with the quarterback situation. My best pick was Jon Kitna. I said he'd have a big week, and he did, topping 300 yards, having a couple of touchdown passes against the Redskins, so definitely a good week for him. I also said that Jason Campbell would be a good start, and he had a pretty good game, over 200 yards passing, over 40 yards rushing. He had a touchdown pass, but also had 2 interceptions, and the key is that I said he would be one of the top 12 scoring quarterbacks for week 15 in standard 12-team leagues, and he was outside of that. So I'm going to really mark that down as a loss, though. It was a pretty close loss. He didn't have a terrible game. And then I really missed on David Garrard. I thought he would be a guy that you want to sit against the Colts, and he actually had a very good game, getting close to 300 yards passing and having a couple of touchdowns against the Indianapolis Colts. So I really missed on David Garrard. Let's try to be a little more consistent this week. Obviously, as I mentioned in the running back video, this is a very big week for many of you out there going for a fantasy football championship. The first start is an interesting guy and a guy that's been talked about a lot over the last week or so, and that's Tim Tebow. And he's going to be going up against the Houston Texans at home. He had a good week last week, had over 70 yards rushing, scored a touchdown rushing, also threw the ball pretty well, even though he's only 8 for 16. So a pretty good week for Tebow. I think he's going to have another good week this week. He's going up against a very bad Houston Texans pass defense, the worst in the league, even though they've been a little bit better as of late. They're still pretty bad, and he should have some success throwing the ball, even though it's still a work in progress for him throwing the ball. But the real key with him is the fact that he can run the ball, and I think he's going to have some success running the ball in this game. And you have to look at Tebow, and you have to look at the situation in the game. The Texans look like they pretty much mailed in their season last week, and a really disappointing and really just kind of heartless loss to the Tennessee Titans. They pretty much mailed it in. They're looking forward to vacation in a couple of weeks. But Tebow is playing for more playing time in 2011. He's trying to show something. He's a rookie. He's a guy that's just really gotten out there and getting his feet wet. So he's going to be really motivated in this game. And I think that's a contrast in styles that's really going to favor Tebow. So expect him to have a very good game this week. I think he's a low-end #1 quarterback in Week 16 as far as 12-team leagues go. So definitely get him into your lineup if you have some quarterback issues. My second start for Week 16 at the quarterback position is actually David Garrard. He was a guy that I thought you should sit last week. This week, I think you should start him, and it's really a matchup situation. Garrard's going to be going up against the Redskins at home, and the Redskins obviously not a good passing defense. They were horrible again last week to Jon Kitna, so if Jon Kitna can do it, David Garrard can definitely do it. He's actually having a very good season with a quarterback rating over 90. So look for him to have some success in this game. And also the Redskins have put up a couple of decent performances. They've been kind of a Jekyll and Hyde team this year. So it's time for them to really put up a bad performance, and I think they will in this game. So Garrard, like Tim Tebow, a lower echelon #1 quarterback in 12-team leagues for Week 16. And I have one sit for you, and that's Eli Manning. He's going up against the Green Bay Packers on the road. And, you know, people talk about the Packers as far as their offense with guys like Aaron Rodgers and Jennings and Donald Driver and guys like that. But the real story for this team this year, and the reason they have 8 wins, is their defense, and especially their pass defense, which is very good. They've allowed only 14 passing touchdowns. They've intercepted opposing quarterbacks 18 times, and they're third in the league in yards given up per game through the air. So they're a good pass defense. And Eli Manning is coming off a good performance last week, but he's really not put 2 good performances together very often this year. He was good last week. He limited the turnovers. He had 4 touchdowns passing. I just don't think he's going to be able to do that again against a good Green Bay Packer pass defense. So I do think the Giants are actually going to bounce back this week and get a win in Green Bay after that horrible loss last week against Philly, but I think they're going to do it with their running game. They're going to do it with their defense and a little bit of Eli Manning sprinkled in, but that little bit of Eli Manning is not going to be good enough to start in one quarterback leagues and in standard 12-team leagues. So I would look to really put Eli Manning on your bench for Week 16. So those are my starts and sits at running back for Week 16. Everybody, good luck in what is most likely a championship week for you. I'll be back for the rest of you next week that still have another game in your season and have a championship in Week 17. Until then, have a good week and good luck this weekend.